Let's talk about adding vibrato and tremolo to our sounds. So go ahead and make sure you've got this set up. That's what we'll start with. What we're going to be focusing on is this right here, this value that's coming in. So remember, the top left inlet for cycle tilde takes the frequency parameter. So any parameter that we send to it, let's see, how about 244? That becomes the frequency of this oscillator. So if we're going to add tremolo to this object, we need to alter what values are coming in here. So right now there's nothing being sent. We don't have any values coming from this object going into cycle. It's just a parameter that's been set. What we want to do is we want to bring this into signal space so that we can change it using another oscillator, because we want it to oscillate back and forth between values. So say, for instance, rather than this being just at 300, it'd be nice if we could have that oscillate at a certain rate between 290 and 310, going back and forth and adding that tremolo effect. So let's erase that chord. And what we're going to do is use the sig object, which all this does is create a signal of a single value, whatever value you give it. So let's give it 300. I'll type in 300 again and push enter so that this parameter is now set at 300. And then let's monitor what's going on using the number object, number tilde. Okay, attach that there, and you'll see it's at 0 right now, but that's because we haven't enabled the audio. So go ahead and click on the Easy DAC, and you'll see that this is 300 because we've set the parameter for 300, and this is just sending out 300 over and over and over again. It's different from these kinds of patch chords. So now we're working with this value in signal space, and we can actually set the parameter for frequency of this cycle object using a signal. Okay, so now as we change this value for signal, it will then control and set the parameter for cycle tilde. Now that's kind of pointless if that's all we're going to do, right? This is a bit redundant. But what this allows us to do, like I said earlier, is use another oscillator to alter this signal. So we can do the plus tilde object. And a nice little trick is to click and drag, but then hold shift, drag the object over a patch cable, and then you can let go, and it'll automatically splice it in there for you. Okay, let's see, we'll take this cycle object, we'll plug it into the left or the right inlet of plus tilde, and let's make sure that we set a value for cycle. Actually, I pushed I. I'm going to push F to turn this into a float object. And let's do a value of 1. Okay, so let's think about what's actually happening right now, and let's monitor it again with the number object. Pull that to right there. Let's pull this over here. And then let's look at after this mathematical function, what are those values? So all that's happening is really basic math. It's just happening really fast. So we've got the signal object sending constantly the value of 248. And then that's being added to whatever's coming out of this oscillator, which remember, these values are only ever -1 to 1. And we've given it a frequency of oscillating through those values of just 1 hertz. So you could expect, if this was 300 again, that these values would be oscillating from 299 to 301, because we're adding up to 1 or subtracting up to 1, or I guess adding up to -1. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. if you need to think about that a little longer, go ahead and pause and maybe build this a couple times and think through exactly what's going on. Think about what values are coming out of here and why, and this object and this object. So remember, this one is just a constant value consistently being sent through at our sample rate, which is 48,000 times per second for my system. And then think about what values are coming through here. Remember, this is an oscillating object. So it's not just one value coming out, it's values from -1 to 1, which you can see it going up and down here. Let's make that even slower. I'm going to give it a frequency of 0.2 so that it's going much slower. You can see that it hits -1, and then it'll go back up to 1, and then come back down to -1. So it's just going up and down, and we're just adding those values. That's all we're doing. You can't really hear much change, even though we are changing the frequency, and you can maybe think of why. I mean, 1 hertz, that's not that big of a difference. We can't really perceive that too well. So what we need to do is we need to make this a little deeper, right? Only a difference of 1 isn't really making that big of a difference. So let's do this. Let's add, let's amplify, I should say, this signal. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this. We're gonna line these up. Amplify, let's just use an integer to keep things simple. Right now, if we amplify that by 0, then, well, this is multiplying everything here by 0, so we're going to get 0 output. It's just going to remain at 300. Now, if we do 1, that's what we had previously, right? All these values from -1 to 1 are being multiplied by 1. They're not changing. Now, what happens if we do 10? Okay, so now, instead of -1 to 1, this output here is oscillating between -10 and 10. Let's monitor that. Let's see that. We can make room for, let's get a little messy here. So yeah, can we stop it at an apex? There we go. Okay, so you can see this is pretty close to 1, that's pretty close to 10. You can see that as this value is being sent through, it's being multiplied by 10, so that makes sense that this is up at 9.6, whereas this is 0.96, because we multiplied it by 10, and now that's being added to this constant value of 300. So we should be able to hear that a little better. Let's listen. A little better. It's still hard to perceive, but you can think of what should happen then as we increase this value. Well, this transposition is a little deeper. So how would we make that go faster, right? Because this is a pretty slow up and down, and it's this sine wave that's causing that. Well, we would do a frequency shift here. We'd change the frequency. How about 6? Now remember, if this was plugged into an audio signal, if this was being sent to the DAC, this cycle with a frequency of 6, we wouldn't perceive it because we can't hear really anything below 20 hertz, and your computer monitors or speakers probably can't reproduce anything till maybe anywhere from 40 to 60 hertz. So this isn't really an audio signal, we're just using it as a control signal. But what happens when we bring it into that sonic space, the audio signal space? Listen to some strange things that happen. You get some strange synthesis going on and some frequency modulation. So that could be a really good way to just add some color to these sounds. So go ahead and play with those values. See if you can come up with your own flavor of sound, and then we'll talk in another video about recording it. One quick thing you could also do is just copy and paste this over, and then mess around with some values, get some interesting combinations of sounds going. Okay, have fun.